Everyone nowadays be talking about racism, but no one be talking about what it would actually mean. See, every time you see something about this sick society telling you about a certain term, it never means the same exact thing. When you hear this sick society talk to you about freedom, it obviously means slavery, right? Just like in the novel 1984. Because your freedom means your slavery. You are free to do everything you can. As long as you live in this sick society that has norms and regulations imposed upon you, there is no freedom to be had. You're only going to be allowed for a certain period of time to act in a certain way. But don't forget that this sick society's purpose is to simply rid itself of you, one way or another, sooner or later. The pandemic should have been a good warning for you. One has to understand manipulation means making use of terms in such a way that people understand something when the reality is something else. If you look carefully at how things are being done when being manipulated, people, or especially the masses, will always seek emotion. Yes? The reason why, for example, commercialism is so aggressive is because people don't buy products, they buy emotions. So the same thing is with these dream sellers. When people in European Union, for example, tell you that you're racist, it means that they want to exterminate you. Yes, look at the whole Europe. Everyone has been programmed for hundreds of years to be submissive, to be so-called humble through religion and other such agendas of social engineering. But the point is, this so-called racism is what they mean that you don't matter, you don't mind, and you have to be replaced. It's happening in Europe. Those illegal immigrants, they're not coming there to seek aid. They are coming there to invade, right? And manipulators always will use the guise of emotions, right? They will always make it look like a humanitarian aid. And whoever is not following that which they are promoting is obviously the evil one. Yes? But they're not the genociders. Yes? Because they are bringing in the scum of other societies in order to exterminate you. How many rapes, how many of these bad things have been happening? Mass media doesn't teach you anything about those. It doesn't tell you anything about those, obviously. So the majority won't simply care. You have to understand in manipulation, people want something which is concise, something which is especially emotional. Not necessarily because of drama, but since people have been programmed to embrace drama, obviously things will be made dramatic, right? Look at all the people nowadays when they say in Sweden or other countries that their country is racist, that they don't accept new people. They're saying that they need the diversity and they need the genius of other people. Those people who come to your countries as illegal immigrants, they're not coming as geniuses. They don't have anything to offer your country other than their poverty and other than their own imposition of their own points upon you. Right? Look at England, look at Germany, how things are degrading. But they're not telling you anything about that because, otherwise you'll be racist if you do it. This whole fear of oh no, I'm gonna say something and people will judge me. Nobody cares about a damn fucking judgment. It's just a stupid word, a stupid uttering that people say. Have you forgotten that racism was designed by Blumenbach, as it is said, in the 18th century, in order to make black slave trading and acceptance a bit more legal, a bit more acceptable, I may say? Because people were even then starting to wake up that why do we need slaves in the first place, right? So they always have to invent these pseudoscientific pieces of work that will shape people's understanding or especially the beliefs over the world. When you're constantly taught that disregarding someone means hurting their feelings, who the fuck gives a damn about your own feelings, right? In this society, whether you were gay, whether you were whatever agenda that's going on around, did it matter in the pandemic? All that mattered was just follow that principle. This is how these abusers function like. You either do their own point or they're just gonna throw slurs at you. But they also know how to draw others around because there has been a lot of research done on how to fool the mind. Remember that the unconscious people, those who are comfortable in their own misery, they will always want simple things because it must be precise, it must make sense, right? And not necessarily must make sense, but it must give them an emotional pleasure, right? An emotional output. Because it's either a thrill, like you see in those people doing so called riots, right, in order to provoke, or it gives them a certain sense that they're some heroes if they support the so called agendas, right? It's all nothing else but a distraction. You're being called a racist because you don't want someone else to come to your place and steal your job, steal your possibility, maybe even ruin your culture, right? Those people are just drones. They're not gonna give you anything specific. They are people who come, they are impoverished. They haven't done any school in their houses, in their countries, in their war-torn countries. And have you forgotten that the people who come from those war-torn countries are actually people who, the same people as the administration, the older administrations of the USA and the European Union have been destroying, right? Under the guise of democracy. You know, how many countries has the USA been demolishing? Those people definitely have made a very bad impression over the so called West. Now they're coming to invade in terms of vengeance, right? They're coming with vengeance. Not that they are seeking refuge. How many rapes have they been doing? But you're a racist if you speak that, right? Have you even read the Communist Manifesto that says the so called Zionists want to exterminate the white race? Why is it all happening only in Europe and America? Because that's where a lot of white people are, right? So they're always going to use all of these things like under the guise of, you're doing something good. And everywhere that you see those things happening in each country, those people are getting paid with big money that you are working for. And they are paid just because they exist. You are not given anything. So if you think your life is gonna become better and you'll actually learn something from them, don't forget that those people are bozos, many of those, not all, obviously, but they don't usually have anything to give you. They're just primitive people who never had most likely the capacity to learn something, to do school, because, well, in a war-torn country, that's, wars going on for years already. Who do you think still has time to do any schooling? Who do you think still has the economy to go to school, right? Or to even build an educational system? It's all about exterminating your own culture by adding people who don't have anything to do with you, who will only vote for those who brought them there. Who brought them there? The same people that destroyed their countries, right? So if you're thinking that you're racist because you're not allowing such bozos to invade your country in terms of peace, right? It's also called peaceful, right? If they are exterminating you, well, it doesn't matter, right? That's how abusers function. If you do something against them, that's when they get pissed, right? And they will start using everything possible. What is the only thing they can use? The others against you, right? The masses, the so called bozos who are comfortable with their own pains. That's why you see so many people screaming that they want diversity. What diversity do you want? Those people are coming from poverty. There is nothing diverse about them. You will be the same level with those because they will not bring anything good to you. They will probably work some jobs, yes. But I assure you, most of them won't even bother learning anything because, first and foremost, they will have to learn your country. They will have to learn about your points of view and your language. Do you think they will care about that? Most of those so-called Muslims, they will want their own religion imposed. They will want you to learn their language. And your governments are freely supporting those. So it's like a big fuck you in your face, right? But if you dare say anything, you're a racist. Well, I prefer being labeled a racist because I don't want the so-called diversity to invade my own country. Europe has been diverse enough. We don't need to draw people who will not serve our countries in any way, shape, or form. Sure, bringing some help, providing some relief can be good. But when it comes to them coming in millions, no country can actually ensure that. I assure you of this. You will not be able to provide them with anything. Because the more they stay, they will also bring their families, they will also bring their neighbors, they will also bring even more. You're not going to be able to school all these people. And all these people are doing nothing else but replacing you specifically. And once you're going to be replaced, the original indigents will simply be wiped out. Their culture will be wiped out. Why? Because it is a cyclical aspect. When these people will have lived in here for sufficient time, they will also be exterminated by the Zionists. And others will replace them. Because don't forget, the Zionists need to exterminate others so that their God will love them, right? It is written so in the Talmudic readings and teachings. But even if these are taken from Judaism, at least Judaism doesn't place such a fanatical accent on it, right? So with this rise of perversion, in which everything good is bad if you're doing because it doesn't serve an agenda of separation, one has to start asking more questions. Why is it that you're allowing aliens to come to your own country and have all the benefits possible, while you who've been living and working for this country get nothing else but a dick shoved down your throat, right? So one has to understand all of these are nothing but charades. You have to understand you're just ruled by bozos only because you have accepted these ideas of separation. No one here is necessarily a racist. No country will want their culture to be destroyed because ultimately that culture has been karmically with you for thousands of years, hundreds of years at least. You will never have peace from your so-called ancestors if you allow those things to break you, if you allow those new so-called diversities to change who and what you are. You have to understand you live beyond this physical body, and that karma will haunt you if you allow such things. It's not your ancestors who will come back, but it is the footprint that they have left in the world, footprints that you carry within you through your DNA, through your genetics. But obviously, no one's going to tell you much about this because, hey, it's all about serving some agendas that make, comfortable people and ignorance feel very emotional, right? Feed people enough emotion and they will blindly follow, right? Hopefully, this video raised a bit of awareness. You are appreciated. Take care. Enjoy life. And this being said, Ferenc Board signing out.